Dobrodošli v galeriji GONG v Novi Gorici. Danes se začenja odprtje in razstava, druga novogoriška razstava Bienala tekstilnih umetnosti v Novi Gorici, kjer imamo na današnjem pogovoru dva umetnika iz Hrvaške in ker smo mednarodni bienale, bi vas prosila za razumevanje, da bomo nadaljevali v angleškem jeziku. Z nami pa so trije umetniki in najprej bi jih nakratko predstavila. So, thank you all for being here. Ines Drole Nanda, you are educated as a fashion design artist, and you express yourself through various mediums, and you find inspiration for your works in nature.
Yes.
So this is a short introduction to you. How are you?
Oh, very well, thank you. Being here with nice people, having my work exposed.
And Leo Subanović and Ela Leko, you are both students, postgraduate students of the Faculty of Textile Technology in Zagreb. So thank you so much for being here as well.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
So the Textile Art Biennial, BN 2023, connects 4 Slovenian cities. We kind of started in Kranj, went all around Gorenjska to Škofja Loka and Jesenice, and we are really happy that we got connected with European Capital of Culture 2025, yes, Nova Gorica, so that we are also in Nova Gorica connecting Gorenjska and Goriška region. The Textile Art Biennial, it's about textile art. The central theme of this year's biennial is the sun. The whole project shows around 100 artists in various locations, and Galleria GONG, the GONG Gallery, is the 20th location of the biennial. So we will talk with our present artists about their work, how they connect with the themes that they explore, and I will start with you, Ela. So textiles, this is her work, you can see at the background. The textiles have the capability of being felt or touched, they are tactile, and it's always an artist's choice to let the visitors touch the fabric. So your technique of felt burning, as you can see in the first and the third cycle, is sort of innovative, and we would like to know how do you understand the tactility of textiles?
So my understanding of textile started with experimentation. So I experiment with different materials, and then I burn it with heat, I put it under water to see how they will react to it. And this started by burning like a felt made out of polyester. And when I saw that it went in like the new different direction that I haven't seen before, I started to layer it and then sew through the layers and started to see how it will react. And there is like the base of the pink and layers of purple and orange and yellow and then again pink, and it just open and you can see every single layer in different parts.
Can your work be touched?
Yes, of course. It can be touched and it looks soft because of the colors, the combination, but when you touch it, it's pure plastic because of like the polyester, and when it burns, it melts and you get the plastic feeling.
Your work is kind of a harsh when you touch it,
yeah.
But yours, Ines, they're very soft, and usually
we should put here touch.
Yeah, the sign.
Touch
Touch it. No, please interrupt me anytime you wish. Also, the public is invited to interrupt us. Your works, we can see it here. These are the autumn leaves, and at the back And also the piece on the other side of the gallery, the blooming tree, they are more soft in a way compared to Ela's, for example. And you are using different materials, as we can see. So already the process of sort of creation is a very tactile process for you, probably. So how do you decide what to use in the pieces?
We have the same approach when I meet the material that brings some remote memories, let's say, because I'm generation born in a time when we were outdoor all the time, lying in the gray grass, observing the blue sky, patterns of the clouds, and in a way I think this is it's in everybody day and car, but the digital generation has quite lost this feeling, I think. I don't know, or maybe I'm just a kind of that type. I meet the material, I also do the research how to work on it. For example, this organza is also synthetic, like this polyester. But with some type of stitches you can find this softness, the curves, and then, I don't know, somehow the flowers and the leaves, they're all around me, and I never think what I'm going to do, to being honest. Just they come out, and then I say, oh, this is that white roses I met that time, the smell. In this I want to bring out the perfume, like of this white roses.
Fragrance.
Fragrance, yes.
Leo, your piece, here on my right, is made of textiles and zip ties.
Yeah.
It kind of gives an impression of dualism in the use of the materials. So hard and cold plastic and soft textile filler. So was the choice of the materials conscious, or was it maybe connected with the fact that what you use is more cost efficient?
When I started it, it was like cost efficient. Like what materials I had lying all around, it's all recycled, except the part of the zip ties that are half recycled, half are like new. And it's all like materials used in upholstery, like for making furnitures, and there's like different techniques of materials used, like knitting, then hand woven materials that I collected over the years. So it was all based on like what I had at the time.
But the idea of putting two different...
Yeah, the idea of putting two different materials together was because I found it interesting, the shape of the zip ties when you close them. They're like very natural, like drops of water or like stylized leaves. So I found them like a certain softness to them in their shape, even though they're hard plastic and very industrial, because they're used like in building sites or like in connecting electrical wires. So it's very hard material, but there's a certain softness to the shape.
Do you think that also textile art is very indisciplinary? So it's usually connected to sculptural forms. So all of your works resemble, in a way, also a kind of a 3D sculpture.
Yeah.
They are not very 2D.
Yeah, I think it's specifically with textiles, you can't make it perfectly flat. It always has something that stands out, like a little three-dimensional. Even though it's like sometimes macroscopic, it's never like perfectly flat. So I think it's like in the techniques that we use, and the textiles are very like...
Do you have a reaction on what Ines said, that you are not, that you are your digital generation, and that you're not connected to the nature? Because your work resembles also a bit of organic, like leaves in a way, and so on. So how do you decide that?
But it's a different approach to nature. I agree that our generation is not maybe connected as the previous ones, because we have nature, but we also have like very online, like friends that are online or something that, so we don't interact with nature as much as we should have.
Your piece is kind of organic in elements, but it has this kind of a graphic quality, the repetitiveness.
Yeah.
So
it's
kind of a digital.
Yeah, it's kind of a digital, like piece, like the repetitiveness of pieces.
But also, Ines, your leaves, for example, I really like it now. Maybe I haven't seen it when we were putting the exhibition on, when we were mounting the exhibition, that you kind of had this, your pieces are observing each other. They're all made of sort of leaves, but also in some repetitive pattern. So how do you feel about making your piece also very, in a way, digital, like putting pieces together in some algorithm?
I live in a digital era, and also what can I do? No, it's like kind of net all the time involves me, you know. Well, I do also like sculptures, but they're more than dresses. With the same creations, I did some dress sculptures, let's say. So I just experiment because I enjoy what I do, and I don't think really that it has to serve something. Well, lately, yes, I would like to put them in interior decor, like stuff to be useful also, but when I do it, I don't think of it. Yeah, I don't.
Ela, your piece is actually made of your previous work. So the middle piece that we are seeing, it used to be a work by itself. So you have upgraded it for the biennial, for the theme of the sun. But at first, it was a piece made by recycled plastic bags in the middle.
So yes, I combined plastic bags with different colors and just I melted it using like an iron. It fused in a spectacular
Tones.
In spectacular tones of the sun, and it was. I wanted to. Sorry, I lost for words.
No, it's okay. Yeah, you can always say it in Croatian or Slovenian.
Impress.
Yeah, to calmness when the day ends, like the calmness of like when you see something, and
astonish. Astonish.
Yeah. That's the word.
So, when you are recycling your own art, is there a concept behind it? So you did it before, or it was an impulse that you had now?
So I did some recycling before, but mainly with old pictures, like old art pieces from high school made into like one. It wasn't something spectacular, but with this, it was everything. Just when the thematic of sun came as the theme, I was instantly inspired by the main part, and the other two parts happened spontaneously, really.
This one is called Degrees of Softness,
Yes.
and the first piece, the original piece?
The first piece was called Degrees of Softness, and when I melted the plastic, that's when you can see like the real work, and it just fitted with the name, and then I just continued. It's just like this is the first part of that triptych, and like these are the two other parts.
Leo, textile art is very much connected to sustainability, durability. So you also upcycle and recycle in your works. Do you believe there's like a historical continuity, that textiles are always sort of used and reused and again reused because they were used in the past also for other reasons. So people were wearing them and then other children were wearing their pieces and so on. So all the rocks that we had, our ancestors, we will throw them away, but in the past they would use it for other purposes. So is this something that is inherent?
Yeah, I think textile art is very reusable because it's very fragile in a way. It's very easy to cut the fabric and to break it, and there's bugs that eat it, so it has to be upgraded all the time, or it has to be in very controlled environments. So I think it's common to see things that are remade or fixed or made into something new from the scraps of the old piece, because it's a type of art that is very organic in a way. It's not like other arts that are solid piece. That can't be cut or reshaped. Textile art is very it can be a wall hanging, it can be put on the floor, it can be made into a sculpture, all from the same piece.
Ines, you mentioned the smell, obviously, because you have flowers in your pieces, and we mentioned tactility, but is there, this question is not directed to a specific person now, but I'm just thinking that textiles also have this sound, at least in the process, this tearing of the sound of the textile. So how does it maybe inspire you when you work, or we're cutting it, or when you're working with the textile? Is there a sound element to it?
Well, telling you the truth, it's a kind of mantra, meditation, because if you have to cut a lot of leaves or a lot of this, you always have these repetitive moves, and yes, it's a kind of meditation. You just fall into this process, and also sewing, and you're in a kind of state of trancendence. At least me, I don't know. Sometimes it's like meditation. It's not boring, even if you do repetitive. Maybe it's a therapy, I don't know.
Well, it's also with knitting, and all the techniques are very repetitive. So do you also have this?
It's very relaxing because of the repetitiveness. Because you don't have to think about what am I going to do next, what's the next part. It's always the same when you're sewing. It's always the same movement. Sometimes you don't even have to look at the piece you're doing. You're just doing it. And it's like meditation in a way.
Healing process.
Yeah, a healing process.
You can enjoy the whole process. If it takes hours, if it takes 10 minutes, you are always present.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
But you're present and lost.
Yeah, it's hard to describe.
Yeah.
I'm happy that you're in agreement. I'm as head of the biennial, I'm in contact a lot of the times with textile artists, of course, and they are very calm. I have to say, now that I think of it, when I have been working before with some conceptual artists, with just really wild concepts, doing something with wire and also paper, graphic, there was a lot of tension where, doing the concept, mounting the exhibition, curating the exhibition. It was a lot of times that me and my team were thinking, it's so hard to work with artists. But now that you said it, it's really true that textile artists are very calm.
Hang with the textiles.
Yes, oh, definitely. So let's talk a little bit about the sun. The sun is the main theme of the biennial. So it offers many interpretations. It's also destructive yet constructive force of our lives. It gives an impression of growth and degrowth. So Ela, can you tell us a little bit how you connected your work to the main theme?
So I look at the sun as I look at this piece. It looks very soft, very light, airy, but when you touch it, it's hard. It can kill. It's like the sun. If you get obviously not near, but in space, if you see it right next to you, it can burn you. It can skin you alive. But it's beautiful to look at. So this is what I wanted to show.
Ines, your works are more into the growth dimension. So you're thinking more about growth than degrowth and this destruction. Or maybe with the autumn leaves we can see that fading.
Not the destruction, just fading. Because I also I have in mind these cycles, of growth and fading and growth and fading. Well, it's like sun gives energy to the earth and to minerals, and plants use minerals to growth and gives energy to people and to animals, and that's the circle again. And then you need light and dark, the shadows and the light, to have a possibility to compare. If there is no light, if there is no dark, you don't know what is light. So it's always an element, like stars. I always like stars, let's say. I always wear this star. It's something, such a big presence that you can't forget. Not notice the presence, it's all behind you. But the truth is, in summer I always put hat on my head. Too much sun bothers me.
Because the sun, of course, the autumn sun is very nice, but the summer sun can be very dangerous, as we heard. So we live in the times where the pollution and the global warming, it's kind of it's omnipresent. It's here. So maybe Leo, as a young person, as you're a faculty student, so there must be a certain amount of fear of what will happen in the future with the world, with the nature. Does these feelings kind of find ways in your works as well?
Yeah, there's like a very present idea of the waste that humans produced on the earth. Even at my faculty, we are taught about everything we can do as textile designers to lessen that waste. I think I tried to be present, like to use recycling, to use some different techniques that use recycled materials or materials that will go to waste, and to create something from them to continue their lifespan after they are used as their primary idea.
But what about feelings of fear? Is maybe, Ela, maybe you can explain a little bit. We are told that the young generations are depressed and they want to fight the old generations because of the problems they caused in the past and so on. So is there a fear of how the future will be?
Yes, of course, but what's even scarier, we do fight all the generation, but we also produce the same amount of waste. So we are not changing anything, we are just adding to it, sometimes even more, because stuff has become more it has a date of expiry faster than it did before, so we're actually making even more waste than the previous generations.
That's sad.
Yeah,
but you're right.
But
I didn't thought of it before that this will be a generational discussion, but and now I will try to kind of maneuver to the gender discussion, and I will start with you, obviously. Textiles are understood as women's work, so they're connected to women's labor for 20,000 years. So how do you find your expression, your creative expression, in this mainly quote-to-quote female art?
I haven't thought about it like gendered, because I just like it, because it's like there's a lot of things you can do with it. it can be very experimental or very like traditional in its in the things you can show with it. So I think it just came natural to me to learn a couple of techniques that were like gendered, but I don't know, the present digital era has a lot of like learning options for everybody. You don't have to like have somebody in your family anymore that knows the technique, because you can find it online and learn it if you're interested.
Oh yeah, I definitely don't think that textile is, or that this is a right way to say that textile is gender biased. I like to think of it as there are so many expressions as there is identities. So there are different identities nowadays, especially it can be expressed in this way. Ines, you are a fashion designer by profession. So do you find it hard to come out of the idea that textiles is craft? So how do you maybe think of it?
Well, no, I didn't understand the question. What's wrong with the textile is craft? The textile art, you mean, is craft, or
the textiles used to be seen as craft. So the textile was done usually to function, and craft is usually valued less.
I don't even have a problem with value less or more.
No. Thank God you don't have it. It's because also your pieces are also can be applied arts, right? So they can also be wearable, for example. So you started as a fashion designer, but then maybe you now that I'm seeing your works, you're more into art than applied design.
Well, I have more faces. I'm totally craft because I have to sell dress, and I can't sell the dress like I would like to. But when my soul asks me to do something for her, I have to stop. I take the material and I have to do it.
Soul work.
I need to break and say, okay, do this. Yes, it's I'm doable.
When we talk about textile as craft, maybe Lea, what about you? Do you wish sometimes that textiles would be more valuable as art, or do you believe that the time has come that actually is understood as art already?
I believe it's slowly becoming art. More people are aware of it into the social media, but before it definitely wasn't. Before the 20th century, it was only used as clothes, and it wasn't received as art so much. But in the 20th century, it started to gain more attention throughout the different phases, different periods. And now, when we come to the 21st century, we see different types of textiles. As like you said, we can use it on the floor, we can use it on a wall, and it became art.
Now I understand the question. No, what's the problem with the textile? Everybody asks, how do you the dust? What do you do with the dust? That's the problem. Oh, that's not good. So how do you clean this?
So as a decorative object, it's problematic. It's just like, how do you clean it?
I think that's the problem about textile.
Can you guys tell us a little bit about the textile art scene in Zagreb? We don't know that much about it. I mean, I think it's, from my perspective, there's been a very big... so there's a person that had a lot to do with your mentor, Kovač, that made your department of the textile, of the technical faculty in Zagreb very progressive in textile art. So is there like a new kind of a wave coming, would you say?
I would say that it is, and it's all centered around our faculty, more or less, at least in Zagreb. because of Koranka Kovač, because she gathered all our colleagues that had very specific textile, like very developed approaches to textile, and she just tries to do to push us in the right directions.
But she also gives us opportunity to develop into our style. She doesn't force anything on us. She just gives us idea of motivation.
Yeah. But as an art form, I don't think it's considered serious yet, because Zagreb has a long history of traditional techniques, like painting or sculpture.
So traditional media is more
traditional media.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about Nova Gorica. What is the Nova Gorica's main art scene?
Oh, telling the truth, maybe Mosdona.
So music?
Oh, it's a bit of everything. You have photo exhibitions, you have dancing exhibitions, but I think it's the most visited place because, telling the truth, not a lot of people know for GONG already here in Nova Gorica. I have to explain my people where they enter is, so I'm trying to go for this.
Okay, yeah, but so we're doing progress.
I think Mosdona, and maybe in the summer there is some student scene here.
But what would you say historically, or maybe there's I know there's not a lot of history in Nova Gorica, but
no,
is there any art that you would like, photography maybe you mentioned?
Yeah, but I don't have something well in mind because not in Old Gorica also I don't put. Would you say something?
Would you say something?
Yeah, just have some art.
Is there a main art scene?
What was happening
in Nova
here?
Gorica? Because we started the textile art in Kran because of the textile heritage, and I believe also with Almira, I think it was here. So here also was Nova Gorica also has some kind of a textile soul, maybe.
Just production. It's ideal, and there was just production, nothing artistic.
Ja, ma nima duše.
No.
Bomo to spremenili. Bomo spremenili, da dobi malo duše, tekstilne duše.
Ja, se strinjam.
I think I'm ending my questions, and maybe you would like to ask our guests some questions. It can also be in Slovene or Croatian. You will definitely have time to ask them.
We are here. That's what
we're going to start in about, I think, 15 minutes or so with the opening. So I would really, really like to thank you. I'm really impressed by the presence of you. So many people came for the talk. It's not very usual that people are interested in something that it's not just art, but also hearing what's behind art. So I would really, really like to thank you all. Yeah, but yes, they show. So, Ela Leko, Subanović, and Ines Drole Nanda, thank you so much for being here. I really, really like to thank also to Natasha and Adrian for having us here in the GONG Gallery, and of course the Go 2025, the co-financers of this. We are very, very happy to be a part of this big art event happening, and we're coming back in 2 years with even greater pieces. Not that these are not great, but in a quantity, I would like to say there will be more of bien, hopefully. So thank you again.
And thank you. And thank
Ja, torej, če želite, evo, se vzamemo malo pauze, potem pa naredimo še uradno odprtje.